I'm so happy you agreed for us to talk.
I know it's wonderful because it's I work from home, so whenever I have a chance to meet people that I see online and also interact with online, it's like, oh wow, that's so great.
Yeah, I need to
You
get a
have
little bit now. Here, the ones to get it a minute away.
cute. I've gotten it's weird. Like I've gotten used to like the two-dimensional space, but it's
Uh-huh.
still not the same. It's still not. It still doesn't feel, that there's that same interaction when you have a chance to meet people online, and then you have also a chance to just see their body language, and it's just this like again, there's like this flat surface that
Yeah,
doesn't compare to online meetings, but or in-person meetings. But I've gotten used to it.
I know. I live away from my family for so long
Mhm.
already. Like most of my family is in Brazil, so I've been in the United States for almost 19 years now.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, I felt more like this and this need to meet in person. But over time with technology, how much easier it got to talk on the phone or talk on like with the video calls that we do. And I can feel now like the connections is easier now online than
Mhm.
it was before, even like when you just be communicating by letter.
Mhm.
And then like and it's true, like I in 2000 1994, 2000. In 1994, I lived in Argentina for 4 years. The, I would call my family every few months and we'd be like communicating by letters. And they're
Mhm.
like, it's amazing. Even here, when I moved to the United States in 2003, making a phone call was still was really expensive. Wasn't it
Yeah.
as easy as it is now?
Mhm.
It got easier with the Google call.
Mhm.
And then later we got WhatsApp, we got all these online communications. And then even like missing my family, like I tell them like now I miss less.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's easier to have. And it's interesting how the communication we generate online with a few people is different.
Mhm.
Like I feel like a few words that we exchange that we can talk a little bit more instead of just saying, oh, nice post, yeah, keep it on. That's a few people that I feel like it generates a little further conversation.
Yes,
And then
yes.
that's when you go like beyond, it's just this online, just Instagram. So
Mhm.
that's nice. And
Mhm.
of course when we get to meet and see the face and
Yes.
uh see like in person, this reaction is really good, it's really nice.
I feel like, I mean, what you said, I can relate to it because I remember, I was having a conversation about this earlier actually, is that most of my family, they're spread out everywhere. And me and my sister, we were the first ones to grow up to be born in America. Everyone else was either in the Philippines, Hawaii, somewhere in Europe. Everyone was spread everywhere. So I would remember my mom, it was so funny. She would time the calls. Like it had to be a certain time of the day because it was cheaper during.
Yeah,
I just remember that she would be on the phone at midnight, to talk with people overseas. And I was like, that was the common thing. And then, just it does. And like you said, I agree. I I I interact with a lot of people online because that's what I do. And some people, they just, it's interesting. I feel that a lot of people are introverts. Or maybe they become introverted. I don't know, but and then when I offer, it's like maybe this will be a better conversation if we can speak in person. And it's just like, oh well, this, that, and whatever. There's like a
like
excuse
a
after.
barrier.
Yes, exactly. And like, I think this person's actually really shy or this person's introverted. And like you said, like talking with each other like this, you could see our reactions real time. I feel like though, you do such a good job with being consistent, like showing up online. I think that's so important. Like, I actually look forward to seeing your videos. Like, what are you going to post next? Because they're short, they're to the point, and they're really encouraging, and they're also educational, which I think is is really important. Like I haven't, oh my God, this is my dilemma that I've been going through this month, and this is my challenge because there's only one of me, and there's how this is like. So I had to make that choice on showing copywriting in the way that it was like this is quick work, this is writing basically, or doing the videos. And I was doing some of the videos with the photography earlier on, and then I was like, I don't have enough time. So I figured better publish than not at all, and like put
Yeah.
the stuff, like get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. And it's funny because I've been looking at my at my numbers, at my analytics, and I'm like, this is really cool. The engagement has gone up. This, like, versus, just looking at impressions versus reach. And I was like, this is really nice. And a lot, it's like 50-50 now of people who have been following and who haven't been following, which was the goal. I was like, I want more people who aren't following, to then interact and increase that engagement rate. So it's been really interesting to test it out, because typically it would just be, you know what, let me just do the video. Let me just, show the before and after of the photos, because it's nice to see that. And I'll still do that. But as of right now, like towards the end of the year, so I'm looking forward to Christmas, where then I can focus mostly on the photography and doing the lessons about the photography, as well as doing more articles, like, which is what I would do anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's like for me, it's been a long journey on
Mm-hmm.
trying to find exactly what I want to share, because I would say like mostly like the thing with the mom story started like when a little before I got pregnant with my daughter, then now she's 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized that like I wanted to share, I was feeling overwhelmed and I wanted to share this online. I still
Mm-hmm.
wasn't much I think about Facebook at the time, but like I just wanted to like to do a blog or something. Like maybe if I start writing, if I start putting out the fact that I putting this out, I might feel that I feel less overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I kind of started but didn't. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing with the story kept coming back. And mostly like from like 2 years ago that I had this filmmaking thing, and I was like, oh, I just gonna go when I start getting into the contact with local moms, start filming. And then was right on the pandemic, was 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no, that's not gonna work now. And
Mm-hmm.
then trying to see, and I always felt guilty on trying to offer something, a service, just to get money and not offer anything back.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was trying figuring this out, I started making like posts that is related to story, is related to the other one. And I'm still like trying to find myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like this last maybe 6 months, I have more clear the message that I want. So I want to create this message. I want to encourage people, moms and everybody, to share stories, because I see how much we feel connection with those stories. And it's a lot, takes time to create the content, because I don't want just there's those video reactions, there's somebody talking and you just go with your voice and put a little message. But I say like I want to voice what I mean when I want to say that. And some
Mm-hmm.
I don't even put sound or anything. And
Mm-hmm.
and then when I create this content that I add stock footage, it takes time for you to do it.
Oh yes.
But then I say I didn't realize I can do longer, and then
Mm-hmm.
start like chopping up smaller for YouTube or for shorts and for Instagram. And then I want to teach people business, because that's where I came, the business part. Because being part of the social curator, I see how much teaching there is in there. Like I've been almost 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's my fault
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't feel like I have a service. I didn't feel like I could use something to offer. And
Yes.
now I did this 3-day sales that I
Mm-hmm.
worked over like 10 days. I think her project is for like 15 days. I work in 10 days because I wanted to get to Cyber Monday. And I say, if I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the social curator, I would have never launched the one-on-one coaching program. because
Mm-hmm.
I kept having this idea. Yes, you can have, I can teach you, but putting out there and creating this and having this out there, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have the product, you don't know what to offer.
Exactly.
And then like, I'm not a writer. I'm not I'm more like a video maker. A lot of things I teach you from what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, I want to get involved with people that do more of the storytelling and
Mm-hmm.
to help people understand how it is important to share the
Mm-hmm.
stories, how that
Mm-hmm.
helps your business.
Yes.
Like
Mm-hmm.
when you do a post,
Mm-hmm.
have the little post, you have a little message, but how much you write on
Mm-hmm.
the caption, how much you offer there is so rich. And
Mm-hmm.
people can do that with videos, with like short videos, short stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now I need to create those
Mm-hmm.
free things that I want to offer. And when they see, like, I have a few people that have been doing one-on-one, and everyone have different needs. I
Mm-hmm.
have a woman that she's not only she's shy on showing
Mm-hmm.
camera, like, oh, what people gonna think about me, and I've been there. I've
Mm-hmm.
been there thinking, oh, what my family's gonna say. The first time I doing the little dances, just me start like the transition.
Yeah.
Like, I felt
Mm-hmm.
so out of, like, this is not me. And then I said, I don't need to do that. I have a
Mm-hmm.
message that I want to
Mm-hmm.
send out. And that's what I want to work on. And that's what I saw many people was going like, oh, the transitions, oh, I feel so awkward, or I cannot get, or they have the technology block.
Mm-hmm.
One thought you're gonna get into Instagram and start filming, and that was gonna be posted already.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, unless you're in the story and you do live and you post, there always a
Mm-hmm.
time before you post and you confirm posting. Never, unless you're live,
Mm-hmm.
nothing is live. Nothing is live. So then I see the different needs. So I said I was gonna do a course. It's like, no, I need to offer like a personal service. Like
Mm-hmm.
each person is gonna have different needs. So, but I just showing like the range of options.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? I can help with that. And then you start saying about the storytelling, the ghost writing, and
Yes.
it's like it's another level. Somebody wants to share the story, but they don't want to write it, so they don't know how to write. So I want you to explain a little
Yes.
bit what would be like a ghost writing. Like if I want
Mm-hmm.
to share my story as a personal, no, because that's not gonna be for a business. There's more like for a personal story.
It's
So I
so
want to start sharing
oh
my story.
yeah, it's so funny. Someone before I go into that, it's like someone had, and she's so sweet, and she goes, I am a little embarrassed. I don't know what ghostwriting is. So I asked her, I'm curious, what do you think ghostwriting is? And she said, um, I think and I was like wondering, I was like, I bet she's gonna Google it, you know? It's like, but she didn't. She kept it honest. She's like, does it have something to do with the afterworld or the spirit world? And I was like, what? Well, I can understand why you would say that. And the same thing even with copywriting. Copywriting was like, is that like a legal term that lawyers use? And like I copyright, yeah, a copyright is different from copywriting. But yes, I can
Yes.
understand why you do that.
Yeah.
It was it's interesting to um and actually I'm so happy that you had this idea, because I was already thinking of, you know what, I think I need to do another post about just ghostwriting, because I don't think people really understand what that truly means, and how that could help someone, and even maybe their business, if they are a business owner. So typically who I would work with are anyone who's really busy to write their own story. And so I get, so wait a minute, you don't get any credit? Like, no, that's the whole point. And but the thing is that you do pay a premium for that. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna hire Yahnny to copyright and she's actually gonna have her byline on something. You could actually see that she was the writer for this. Like I am 100% anonymous. I actually sign on, if people do want me to sign on it, then I'll sign a non-disclosure agreement, and I'm bound for life to be anonymous. But to do that, I obviously was like, well, that's a premium to pay. So who pays that premium? It's usually a busy executive, a busy manager, someone who's writing a paper, like a white paper, an academic white paper, or a technical paper. Is it ethical? Absolutely yes. If it's an engineer or a scientist or something like that, then I would have to question, why are you hiring a ghostwriter? And I typically would turn that down, because if it's particularly something where it's something that deals with research and academics, and I would say, then you hire me as a copywriter. Don't hire me as a ghostwriter, because ethically, me, even as a former engineer, I wouldn't think that would be ethical. So it's like some people do, which I'm like, that's not my deal. So, or even industry leaders, and I tell people, I can't show you exactly what I've written for these two people, but they have agreed to put their testimonials on LinkedIn. The top two that you see on the testimonials, they're the ones that I've ghostwritten for most recently, and who've agreed to come forward and actually, give a recommendation. So like going back to you with like scripts and working with, like maybe even like working with mothers or anything like that. The lady I worked with, who is a TED Talk speaker and who also now works for the UN, I helped her to script her was a 21-day program that addresses feminism in 3 different languages, so French, Spanish, and English. And we did back-to-back translations, and that was that. I mean, it was just, and it went from, like what Jasmine teaches, the hick, the hook, the interest, and also call to action. So it was just like for 21 days times three. That's what we did, and that's a perfect example of what was scripted for video and what was ultimately put onto her LinkedIn and her Facebook, and and she's a TED Talk speaker, so it was just like, oh, that's no pressure at all. And and did that, what she's so trained at this, like, I'm like holding these like pieces of paper. It wasn't even like cue cards, and she memorized a lot. She's a great memory. So I think that you know this idea that you have is so wonderful, because there are, taking off that pressure. I work with photographers as well, because they're not writers, and I was just like, hold on for a second, what story are you creating for your photo series? And then they're just like, well, it's going to be this. I'm like, maybe it will be more compelling if you do it from this to this, and it's a story with photos. So um I also help them with that as well, because they're a lot of them aren't naturally good at writing, but wonderful at telling stories visually. And that's okay. So that's where I come in, and also helping with other creators who are more visual storytellers than they are wordsmiths. And that's okay. I really enjoy working with people, on that level too, because it's a different perspective that I don't see sometimes. Like, oh, I can see it that way. Yeah, that's really cool. So let's switch it up a little bit. So the creative juices start to flow when I work with other creative people, which is nice.
Yeah, we're like going back to the ghostwriting kind of the way I like what Jasmine said, help us to understand sometimes when people, because what I see when I work with these people, the different level of understanding, sometimes you need to break down and to explain really as a 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then so what you do on the business side, people can get like the topic, like the TikTok you just said. It's not that you wrote for her the whole thing. She came with the idea that she need help breaking down. So that's how you work. You break down in small pieces to explain what she needs to present. Because for her, maybe the writing wouldn't be easy to do the whole breakdown, but she has the main points, and then you help breaking down and explaining those ideas. Is that right?
Yes. And to go even further, I have to make sure that I'm writing in her voice, or if in this case, scripting in her voice. And how
Yes.
do you go about doing that? Is I simply read everything. I read before even, um, how can I say, giving her the scripts or even helping her to put the videos together. I actually had to read through as much as I could of all of her online writing, watch her TED Talks, seeing her rhythm in the way that she actually likes to present.
Yeah.
And that is also another part of ghostwriting, that you have to read a lot. You have to be a ravenous reader in order to get the person's tone of voice. So reading, and then also in the case of, like, for instance, another man, another person who has a 7-week accelerator program that helps business owners to scale 1 million per year or more. So he teaches them in the 7-week program how to do that from day one. And I'm just like, have I ever made a million? I'm like, no, I have not netted a million. And that was the thing. I was just like, how the hell am I supposed to, like, say this to people?
Embody that.
Yeah. So I actually had to, like, I looked through all of the stuff and I was just like, all right, I am the business owner who's netting 1 million. This is how I have to think. This is who his target market is. Again, like the ideal client, mostly white collar. They've been established in probably some other profession. So I have to know all of that background information. Then I put it together in their voice so that it's natural when they start talking, so they don't sound like they would, that's why it's very important to know, how they're going to express themselves. And then once they're ready, they basically either publish, if it's a book, if it's a paper, or they use it as a script, if it's for video and or both. It could also be for content. So for her, I helped her to write some of her social media content. No one knew it was me. And I actually did that recently for somebody else. They didn't know it was me. And that's just, again, the idea of a ghostwriter. You are behind the scenes. You're anonymous. You're basically the voice. You're giving the person a platform to speak and to write with authority, and also taking away that time that they would need to figure out how to put things down on paper, so that they can go about their business, because most of them are really busy and they don't have time for that.
Yeah, that's great. And it's so interesting what you said about getting connected and find their voice to write, with their voice. It made me remember that my ex-husband is a writer, and not only I shadow myself under, like, because my English is my third language.
Oh my gosh.
Portuguese, I fluent in Spanish, and then I learned English mostly from street. And also so then already I have, like, to double think the words, and my words are not complex words. Like, even though, like, I love to read, I love, like, I get a lot from the visual. My memory, like, is visual. So when I read, I see the word, or when I know a new word, it's like, how do you spell it? Because then I get a photography of the word. And then he will write something for me to say. And I'm like, I cannot say in this way because it's not the way I would speak.
No.
And then I'll have to simplify. I have to find, like, synonyms for those words, because it's not the way I talk. So this is so important. It's so important that, like, the way you explain right now, you have to find the person that you're writing to, their voice, and write on that, because it's going to be easy. It's going to be natural for them. Wherever they have to repeat what you just broke down for them, they have to feel they own that.
Yes, exactly. And that could be challenging because if you do submit something to that person and they say, oh no, that's not me, then it's a matter of asking questions. How would you like this to sound? More informal? Would you? And because perception is everything. Even if you read something that they wrote, or you watch something that that was filmed with, like a public speaking event, for instance, we may not catch on to it that quickly, and that's natural. So if someone says this is for, I don't know, say it's like for a less formal publication, and they said it's going to be addressed, I want it to sound less informal. So I would just ask them to have a conversation with me. It's like, describe what we're writing about, and I would then catch on, because when you put them in the frame of mind to think about the audience that ultimately is going to be reading or watching their work, they start talking that way. Because I've seen it enough times where people are more formal when they're explaining something. And then when I'm just asking them to reframe their mind, because okay, just picture in your mind who is actually reading, they start talking differently. And I'm like, thank you, because now that helps me, because now I can write that in the way that you just put it. Without that, I'm going to continue to write in a more formal way or in a certain
Yeah.
way or this way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And also, like, I want to focus. I'm gonna start putting out for people that want to do the one-on-one course. Um, maybe they want to commit now to start next year, because everybody like, oh, next year. But try to think like I love to celebrate some dates, but I live my life like every day. It's like it's important day. I don't look for, oh, I gonna set this for next year, gonna start to do that. No, if I want to start like an exercise, why not today? If I want to start a diet, why not today? I don't have this mindset like, oh, okay, in December or in January. And I want to also share that, because you never know when you need, why you always setting the date so much apart. But I like to get to the business, how for them to understand, to voice, to put the voice out. And we know so much about Steve Jobs. He's the pioneer of doing this.
Yes. Yes.
People bought so much of Apple because he was there. He was like the human behind the product.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot say, oh, because it's Apple, oh, because it's Mac. No, everyone has this opportunity to reach to your customer, to reach to your clients. Once you put your face in front of your business,
Yeah.
it's a different relationship that you're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
of your product. Like if a restaurant just say today, oh, do you want to know how to make the best rice?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's gonna go stay home and cook the best rice, but the fact that you're there and just giving a little tip, a little thing, but on a personal, on more advanced level, on or a doctor or a business person, they still don't know how to express themselves. They can get you in between, like a person that will help them to find their voice. Maybe you start there. You are the start point. You're
Mm-hmm.
the start point to say, oh, this is the thing that you can start saying, and then you're gonna feel more confident, and then later they're gonna find their voice and they can do on their own. And that's also the way I want to feel. I All my work that I always do my whole life, even when I taught Spanish on the past, I taught Photoshop, and then the work that I do as a web developer. When I work in independent clients, I create in a way that they can go forward updating their websites. I don't want to be attached, or I have to do everything. And a lot of companies, that's how they make their money. They hold this maintenance. I like to be the one they're gonna remember, oh, she taught me that. I know how to do it because she taught me. So I want to
Yeah.
be the start point. I don't want to hold everybody like, forever. It's like carrying like a big line of,
Mm-hmm.
followers in this way. No, I want to be somebody that, oh, I learned that and now I can do myself. And I think that your work can be that way too. Like
Mm-hmm.
some things, you're always going to be evolving, going to be working with different people. And that's, I think, is a great idea too, right? I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of brainstorming here.
It's interesting that you say that because very recently actually I that situation came up where I was ghostwriting, and then this person had said, um, because I put out on Instagram, it was a trial. Whoever are the first 5 people who comment, I'm going to do 7 um, free captions for you, something like that. And then I get this message, oh, me. And I get another message, oh, my. I was just like, okay. So now I'm like towards the end of the 7 captains, meaning like, okay, you only have 5 more left, or you only have 2 more left. And then this person goes, oh no, what am I gonna do? Because I've gotten so used. I was like, I can teach you. I can teach, and of course that was also my goal, was having the person wanting to say that, or saying no, can you please continue. It was either or. And I think I might do it again, like as a flash sale. I was thinking about doing this again before the end of the year. But and as soon as I sent over some information to then, um, like a guideline, kind of like it's kind of like a one of the social curators workbooks. You know, like it was just basically a really simple guideline, and like this will help you to then put the words together in the same way that I do it. It's exactly the same framework. There's no secret to this. It's exactly what I do. And then the response was, but I can't write in the way that you do. And like, in what way? And because putting the words together so succinctly. And I think that is the thing that people are at first having a difficulty with, is succinctly expressing themselves and directly, sounding brief without sounding like they're cutting themselves off. And that just takes practice, because I write every day. I write a lot every day. So when people go, "Oh, can you write a 2,000-word blog?" I'm like, I can write 5 of them. And I was like, in a day. So it's like, but it's in a matter of the quality of your writing comes with practice. The quality of creating a video comes with, everything comes with practice. It's not going to improve. It's like, it almost sounds simple, stupid, but that's really what it is. It's just
That's
not
so
going to.
true. That's so true. But also, this is part of your service, because your good day start point. Some people will be able to learn and do themselves. Like, that's the way I see with the captions, with the social curator. Sometimes I don't see my voice on that, but that gives me the idea to write what I need.
Yeah.
But some people cannot do. And that's when
Mhm.
you go your service. That's when, like, okay, we can be working and then you pay me a fee, and then we
Mhm.
can keep working together. But some
Mhm.
people just grow independent. Might be like in the beginning, just okay, we can do it for a month, and then they get used to that. And there's the same thing. It happens to me. I also got the idea to start writing the blog about moms, about my stories, to practice my writing, my English writing. It's like, oh, okay, that's a way to practice and get better. And writing, I can always go back and fix and change the words. And I got better too. I got better, like, talking. When I like start talking on video, like, oh my gosh, it's so like, I was like so nervous, and I still am, but I do it.
Mhm.
I do it because I feel a need that I have messages to share. And I think when you are in a point that you feel that you have something else, like something beyond your body that you have to share, you go for it. You step out of your comfort zone to do that. And but like my goal is be like a point where people can start learning and then get independent from that. And it's a great way for you to, like, okay, I can be the start point. But when some people will never be ready, because some people will never do video. So I offer editing too. And then, like, I was working with a woman, getting her involved with video, and it's like, you know, I hear you talking, I see your passion, I see you, like, when you're saying what you do. I'm not this person. I just cannot do it. But she wanted to learn to edit. She's a photographer, videographer. She's doing like stories with video, and then she get photography. And then I offered her like a collaboration. Um, and then I said, well, let me edit the video for you then. And when I gave her, like, because we were talking, we were working together. And when I gave back the editing, she's like, Simone is like, you read my mind. Like, I cried because I work with a woman and I felt like I was editing where it just delivered, because she worked with this in one single line. But when I edit, I mashed that together in a storytelling way where people are gonna feel compelling to watch, and just like, okay, now she's talking, now she's talking, now she's talking. So no, but like, it's interacting. These people, like, they'll be working together, and that's like some people would do that on their own. They can learn and do themselves. And some people, that's gonna be my service. Okay, so you cannot do, I can do it for you. It's a service that I can offer. It's the same way what you offer.
Exactly.
So
And
that's
it's I think that it's where I think it's fared better for me as well, is that oh my gosh, you know this even from like editing video, it takes your workflow. You need to do it a few times to then hone the skill or improve that skill of the skill of just your workflow, and then you can be less stressed out that you're going to get from point A to point B to produce and publish the thing that is for your client. And so for me, when people are looking at like an article, and just say it's like a 500 word blog or article or something like that, and then they read it, and it's all the information that they had wanted. So I explained to them the process and the time that it took, because they said, how long did it take for you to do that? I'm like, well, it was an easy subject because I wrote about it before, and especially if it's something that I've been doing for a long time. Like it was just an hour, because I'm just used to the subject. I'm just used to the topic. But if it was something I didn't do before, it could take me up to be honest, that could take me up to 4 hours, because I have to actually do the research and this and that and this and that and this and that. And like 4 hours for something that's like 500 words to 1,000 words. I'm like, exactly. And so it's just like the research itself
Yes.
takes skill. It's like vetting the truth of those sources. Like, that takes, rule of thumb. You have to look through 3 different sources to make sure that it's like, that it's like the truth. So just even that itself is a lot. So when you explain it to something, explain it like that, then, and also show it. They're just like, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, because it's you don't do this for a living. And then when this is why you would hire someone who does this for a living. But yes, ghostwriting is interesting because it's anonymous. And I realize how much people really get bothered by that. They're like, but doesn't it bother you that you don't get credit? I'm like, no, it would bother me more if I wasn't making any money.
Yeah. That's
But
actually the whole point, to help somebody else's story get out there. I think
yeah.
that's the whole point of, like, it's really like you being at service of someone, getting paid for that, and then getting their story out. And that's really nice. Like, even when I did the editing for her, she's gonna put out this story for this family. My name is not even there. It doesn't matter, like, it's a service that I offer. It, like, doesn't matter who edited, unless it's an Oscar movie, then the editor get credits. Then I want my credit. But for this service, so even if I offer like a real editing, like, I don't need credits as services. Like, many people do, like, posts or blog posts or Instagram posts as a service. Like, they don't put like the logo on the bottom, not made by. No, it's part of the creative process. I just have someone working with me with a logo with another project that I have that's called Mom Is Not For Sale. Sometimes I share something on my page. So I started as I was like, oh, should I like just write as myself or just like go with the moms? And then I saw that when I was interacting with people, a person was missing there. I was just like interacting as Mom Is Not For Sale, and I was like, I need a name. So then I would go and follow, like, with Jasmine and even other people in the industry, when they explain how important it is for you to have your personal brand. And that's what I said before about Steve Jobs, that it was Apple commenting like, oh, it's could be anyone right behind it, but when you have the person talking. And then I started like just sharing stuff on my page instead. But also I didn't start before because I was shy to show me as an authority of talking about that. And then I start feeling more confident after I start doing that. So everything is a process. You start step by step, whatever you're feeling comfortable, and then you go level to the next, step. And so I was just saying I was working with a logo for something else that I worked for a brand there. And you're not gonna have the person's name on the logo. She created. Who's gonna have the credit is the brand. And that's the whole point, when you are creative, sometimes you just create to put out in the world. And I even have a local artist in my city. He does some murals. He's put like some paintings, and then he write his social media accounts on the things. I was just kind of analyzing the situation. Whatever I put out there, if people share, it's great, it's amazing. If they tag me, great, I can see they really liked it. But I see sometimes the shares and the people that was tagged, like it's way more than shared than I was tagged. I don't care. The word is there for people to see that, you know, and more word is getting out. That's the point that I try to spread, is the legacy, the people that you touch by the things that you share. So anyway, one day he was putting a post on social media that he was upset that people was taking pictures with his murals and not tagging him.
Mhm.
I was like, oh yeah, you know, it'd be nice. He did the art, you know. But then I say, the artist, when you put the art there, you cannot have control of it.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
not, unless like it's something that you paid, you got paid for, then you need the credit for some whatever it is. Like when you see some things, that is the credit. But once you put something free out there, if people use it, not that they were reproducing, they taking a picture, they spreading somehow your work is being seen.
Mhm.
So that I debate if you need to tag the artist or not. But the important thing is to put that out there. And in your case, you feel um, reward because you're being paid for that, and also
Mhm.
you're making that person work stand out. Her person or her business is standing out because of your work. That's your reward too. Did
Exactly.
you
And
feel that way?
yes, I do. I mean, because the at least for I can speak for myself is that what motivates me as a writer or even as a photographer is that I have a chance to tell a story that I can relate to, because I typically work with people that I can relate to, that share those values that I believe in, or else I in some way would be a hypocrite, you know, if I was trying to share the work that I don't believe in. And even if it's something that I'm not directly involved in, if I do believe in it, then yes, I would write for that. And for me, it's first and foremost about helping other people. And when, like you said, you help someone to become successful and you see that, you know, it comes back around. And also as a writer, you have to constantly show your own work. That's how you in some way get new clients, is because they see what you're able to produce, how you're able to write. And then, yes, if it's word of mouth, they refer you, and then that's great too. That's always wonderful. But for the most part, you're constantly churning out your own work. You're constantly showing what you're able to write about on the topics you that you can relate to. So obviously, it would be like photography and entrepreneurship and writing and adventure and travel and all of that. And of course, I can speak about those things honestly and easily. I'm not going to create a barrier for myself to then talk and write about something I can't consistently do every day, because it's just too stressful and too hard for me to write
Yeah,
about.
when you don't relate, doesn't flow naturally.
Exactly. So when I work with people, it would be the same thing. I relate to them because it also relates to my own points of view that come to me naturally. And but what really is, as a writer, as a creator, you are helping people to open their minds to see not only themselves, whether it's through writing or through visual arts or through movement like dancing. This is really important for people to understand. So in this case with the graffiti artist, when you put your work out in public, the fact that you have it out there, what was your purpose to begin with? Was it to gain recognition, or was it because you absolutely love to share art? And that's more powerful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's really like my thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yahnny, it was really nice meeting you and talking and know more about your work and having, sharing this kind of work, and people have people to understand better what you do, what I do, and
Yes,
I look forward to keep talking to you and online.
same here. And as I said before, I really enjoy the videos that you put out because they are you. And like I even before this call, I felt like I knew part of you. You
Oh,
know,
thank you.
and that really is powerful, because now that's also something that you're doing for your potential clients, you know, that you are telling their story, and you're helping, like you've helped me, like you've helped many people to see you, who you are as a person. That's what you're also trying to do for other people, and it shows. So it was very nice to finally meet you.
Oh, that's so great. So
Mhm.
good to hear this. It's really,
Mhm.
really, really rewarding to hear that the work that I'm doing, so unpretentious, I would say.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's being my message. It's my work is being, it's able to express, and the people be able to see that. It's really
Mhm.
rewarding. Really good to know.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that touched you, because it meant it, you know. So,
That's great. Likewise, I love reading your posts too and interact with that.
yeah. Thank you.
All right, honey. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. All right.
Bye.
Bye.